The floor plan returns. Matt Webber's my name, Dr. Libby Sander. Hello to you.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm very well. Christmas full of stuffed solid, full of ham and all that kind of thing, and enjoying the Christmas, post-Christmas come down, I suppose.
Lovely.
Yeah. How,
Lovely.
how about you?
Yes, exactly. Just enjoying doing some of the things that we're going to talk about today, actually, when we
Uh,
talk about what people are doing.
That's interesting. That's interesting because we're dipping, well, for me, we're dipping into a world that I don't really understand at all. The idea of having a YouTube channel with 4.8 million subscribers literally plugging into my brain day in, day out really
It's
makes
too
me,
much for your brain.
it's
Yeah.
too much, too many synapses
Did you
firing
not have
up.
4.85 million daily listeners to ABC Gold Coast? No.
Not quite, not quite. Heavens above, how
That would have
things
made you popular though
it would have
you.
indeed,
Mm.
and it would have placed significant demands on me too. And I'm curious to hear about how our guest today manages all of this. Perhaps you can give us his background before we reveal who he is, or reveal who he is and give us his background in your order.
Yeah, today I'm super excited to have on Julian Elchakieh. So he's 22 years old. He literally is leading the way in terms of multi-platform content creation. So not just YouTube, but at the edge of all of these different modalities, which we're
Mm.
going to hear about. And in 4 years, he has, that's only on YouTube, the 5 million subscribers. He has over 2 billion views, many, many subscribers across other platforms. And at VidCon this year, which you won't know about, which is a very cool conference, Matt,
Yes.
event that is really the kind of epicenter of content creation in this kind of space. He was not necessarily the biggest name because there are some pretty big famous names in that space, but
Mm.
literally was the most popular appearance and just kind of blew up the whole place. And for next year's release on the website now, his face is on the front page. So really inspiring. In 4 years, he's gone to create this, and we'll hear about his background. And he talks about so many things today, which I think are so important that people,
Mm.
I was just blown away by his vulnerability, his openness to talking about his motivations originally, his struggles as a younger child, motivation, loneliness, friends, all of these topics, and how you succeed. As you said, how do you possibly hope in a space where you've got 5 million people who might say, I like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing today, Matt.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal. But what he is at the edge of this very much shift in the way that work is actually
Mm.
happening. So we've talked a bit about portfolio careers and some of the, this is not just Gen Z and Alpha, but what we're seeing is a shift at the moment in work and identity, right? So we had
Mm.
that single linear career, and we're moving now towards, or we're not moving, we're already there, right?
Mm.
Multiple income streams, projects, identities. And so work is no longer just as it was largely for you and I, what do you do? But who are you? And where do you belong? And I think this
Mm.
struggle for belonging in the world right now is something that's really topical and is evidenced by the numbers we see in this creator economy. So
Mm.
the global creator economy in 2024 was $205 billion was the value of it. And
Gee,
by
yeah.
2033, it's going to be $1.3 trillion. So, there are hundreds of, you hundreds of millions, there's millions of these creators active, globally. And
Mm.
it's not just making videos. Now, this is a whole economic sector, Matt.
It's an industry. Yeah,
It's an
it's a
industry.
real, genuine industry. And this conversation that you've had today has, I guess, other than experiencing this world through the eyes of my own children, is really the first window into it for me.
Mm.
And mind blowing,
Your mind.
genuinely mind blowing, just on scale alone,
Mm-hmm.
and the borderlessness of
Mm-hmm.
it and the freedom of it, which is at once exciting and also overwhelming. The world, literally the world in which these operatives work, um, it's a blank canvas, but it's all about it's personality driven. So the idea that you open your life and your ideas to so many people all at once and then continue to be malleable and constantly shifting and moving around to maintain your listenership and satisfy new listeners and to invite new people. I mean, it's otherworldly to me. It's
Mm.
so fast and so big. It really is a lot to grapple with.
It is. But I think if we talk to some of these younger people, they would probably have a similar view of us and go, why on earth would you want to
Yeah.
spend 40 hours plus 60 hours? We talk about the
Yes.
hours at a desk being told, here's your goals for the year and what you will achieve. And if you don't
Mm.
achieve them, you won't get a bonus, or in fact, you might get sacked. And in fact, you don't probably have control over a lot of these things you're being told that you need to achieve. And so these are some of the things that are influencing, for them, creativity is the ultimate freedom, right? The chance to say
Mm.
who I am and how do I express that creativity. So some more stats here, Matt, which I know that
Mm.
you love. So
Love the numbers. Mm.
yeah, 67% of Gen Z globally, according to a recent survey, said that they actually plan to be freelance. So this is
Mm.
going to be, this is an intentional career design. It's, yes, we've talked about underemployment and some issues with the gig economy, but we're talking about a different kind of thing here. This is
Yeah.
not unintentional. It's not instability. And so why they're choosing this path, according to the research, is 70% of it is about flexibility.
Mm.
64% is about location freedom. But I love this one the most. 62% of these respondents, it's about meaningful, passion-driven work. So not just sitting
Mm.
in meetings that are pointless all day.
Yeah, indeed. And I again, in context and putting it in the context of my own generation, before I did the journalism thing, as listeners will know, I was a lawyer, and I was thinking of all of these issues through that prism. And the idea of working for a brand name firm, there were top
Mm,
tier and middle tier and smaller practices and that kind of thing. And if you couldn't work for a top tier firm, you might have to settle for a middle tier. But it was about the reputation of the employer
mm,
and what its reputation might build for you, and being a part of a club with a fantastic reputation that could catapult you on down the road. Now it's a much more individualistic pursuit. It's what can my work do for me that will satisfy me personally. I don't care about the brand name, or I don't care about the corner office in the big
mm-hmm,
building in the MLC Centre in Sydney or whatever so much. Uh,
mm-hmm,
I,
mm-hmm.
I care about what I am going to achieve myself. And I think that's a really healthy step forward in terms of a workplace psych.
Definitely. But as we'll hear from Julian, and not of course all people in the space are like this, but a lot of these emerging kind of creators, it has to be about community first, because
Mm,
if you aren't providing something of value and you aren't doing what is seen to be important, then they're not going to follow you. But I did some research for you. Okay. So you'll like this, Matt, because I thought you'll be, as we hear, you're not into this space at all. So we'll
no.
give you a little bit of
Mm,
some options. Maybe you can over the rest of the holidays, even though you're not on holidays. We're not really on holidays. So if we look at humanity, all right, this is not just about entertainment. It's not just, I mean, to some extent, I just want to switch off and watch something, but you are probably not aware of, well, I talked about at South by Southwest the size of YouTube, and the guy who was from
mm,
YouTube
mm,
talking about, where all of this is actually going and the watch hours. Okay. So there are these growing niche genres that I think people are so stressed. They're looking for either stress relief, aesthetic comfort, skill mastery. In some cases, it's emotional regulation. In some,
mm.
it's practical life value. So let's see if you've come across any of these, Matt, or this might be something you want to look into. So one of the huge ones, and again, there's so many. So I have, if I've left out your favorite genre, please don't yell at me. Not you, Matt, but the listeners,
Mm.
the viewers. So study with me. So there's that companionship during work and study. So these videos, and some of them are incredibly aesthetically beautiful, of people who are at Oxford or, Cambridge or Harvard, and you're literally studying with them in the library. There's a lot about that kind of aesthetic space. So there's a huge corner of YouTube called Planetube, the stationary one. Yes, I do watch some of that, right? But there's other ones about morning and night routines, how to kind of, there's a huge genre about, have you heard of, what do they call it? Daily carry, right? So how you should pack things to carry around with you for work. It seems to be, for both genders, but
Yes.
it seems to be guys particularly interested in, right? So how do I have the perfect tech, the perfect setup to carry around with me to travel with? Okay, this one I found, there's the cleaning one. You may have heard of this. So people just watching people cleaning, but the big growth in this space is graveyard cleaning, tombstone cleaning. People watching videos about that. I do not watch this, which I just find bizarre.
Hang on. Just let's just rewind a second.
Cleaning. So there's YouTube channels where people are going to cemeteries and cleaning the graveyard and cleaning tombstones. It's a huge thing.
Just to zhuzh them up a bit, or just for betterment?
For people like watching cleaning, just generally, apparently. But they
is there a satisfaction element of this to see, a rundown lichen-covered tombstone?
Maybe, but it goes on. Gleaming. Okay, so there's a whole ASMR one. So there's entire channels about that. But then there's obscure skill mastery. So it could be how to, I don't know, change the oil in your, not that that's obscure, but in your car, or antiques and electronics, going to kind of abandoned buildings and sort of haunted ghost spaces, that liminal space fascination. So that's apparently a huge thing. Unexplained or horror kind of situations. Then there's, I don't know, like there's so, what about this one? Hydraulic press crushing.
Oh no, I've that pops up in the feed every now and then.
Okay,
just crushing things, like watching things, golf balls explode. There's one with the hydraulic blade too, cutting things in half.
That one does not come up on my algorithm.
What's inside of again, a golf ball. Golf balls seem to feature heavily.
Okay.
Golf balls,
great.
Whatever it can be.
And then
sliced.
there's the cooking, finance, like how to doing things, tutorials. I know someone who just does their entire channel. I don't know personally, but I saw this when I was doing this research on Excel, which is my least favorite technology application. Again, apparently lots of people need this. It's very, very useful. So it's absolutely a huge thing, which is great for YouTube.
But it's all that's my community. I actually like that. I relate to that as an individual.
And that's the point, Matt.
That makes me feel good. Yeah.
Some of these people don't show their face. They don't speak. So the silent videos. So it could be cooking, could be this one I saw doing this at some sort of aesthetic life in Finland. But it's just got, text on the screen. She doesn't talk. She doesn't show her face. So you don't have to, it's not necessarily all about personality and those sort of things. So you can create this entire channel. And a lot of these stationary ones, they've got a camera kind of set up here, and they're just, you can see their hands, but they're going through all these stationary or planner things. So what's cool is there's space for everyone.
Yes. Yeah,
so you could be
welcome.
highly introverted and I don't want to talk even, or let alone show my face, but you can still create a hugely successful community and business in this space.
Who knew it would come to this?
So if you were going to have a YouTube channel, Matt, what would putting aside all the practicalities and having listened to all of these interesting things, what would your one be?
Well, I can give you a bit of an insight into some of the things that I enjoy watching.
Okay.
From time to time, if I'm having
cricket.
A little lazy. Well, cricket bat restoration. Like getting old cricket bats and turning them into gleaming bits of gloriousness. I don't mind anything woodworky. I quite like lots of luthery guitar making. That seems to, I think my algorithm is, or my machines know how I operate by now, and they feed me a pretty regular diet of this sort of thing. That'd be the sorts. They'd be the main sources of my comfort in this space, I think. yeah, cricket
Go. Do you
related
find it
stuff.
quite calming to watch cricket? But that's the point, isn't it?
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
or maybe wanting to learn how to do it yourself.
yeah, learn
So
a skill, learn a specific skill.
it's
Yeah.
this is I mean, not just this, but the future in terms of
Mm.
we see the desire for freelance going to be a huge problem for companies in terms of availability of workers. And we already talked about the survey about Gen Z not wanting to be managers. That's because they're
Mm.
creating ASMR YouTube channels on cleaning gravestones. Not all of them, obviously.
Yeah.
This, it's not a joke. And it is, we can have a view of it, or you can have a view of saying, this, my brain hurts, but this is
That's a bit.
this is the future. I think it's a part of where everything is going. And so it was so amazing to have the chance to have someone who's very much in the leading edge of this space come on to talk to us about what it's like from his perspective, and having created this, lots of inspiration, some really great advice, I think, on tech and digital transformation and AI for big business as well.
Let's have a listen to your interview with Julian Elchakieh, jmancurly.
Julian, hi, welcome to the floor plan.
Thank you so much, Libby. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. And as you know, I think this is a podcast about the future of work. So we have listeners of all ages, and I know you're going to be a huge inspiration to so many of them who are looking at new models of work, new kind of ways of doing things from what they used to do and what our parents used to do. So tell us firstly just a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in YouTube? Was this something that you always wanted to do? Because I know so many people nowadays would love to follow what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored to be a part of your show. I mean, I've been wanting to be a YouTuber. This is the only job I can ever remember wanting, probably since I was 8 years old or so, just because I had watched a lot of the OG gaming YouTubers. And I love the idea that someone could watch me play video games. So I would literally set up like a little iPad and record my TV playing whatever games I had on my Xbox. But really, I started honing my skills at, I would say 8, actually, just editing on an iPad. Like I would edit videos for no one to watch, but I just loved the technical side of it. And I loved making things that made me laugh. So I would talk to nobody in my videos, my invisible audience, say, "What's up, guys? How's it going?" But no one was watching at the time. And I had only made a YouTube account at around 13 after begging my dad to let me open it because, as a parent, you want to be careful. You don't want your kids to just start signing up for random websites. And YouTube definitely wasn't what it was as it is now. So started off just editing videos on my own, and throughout high school, this was always my passion. But to be honest, I was pretty aimless throughout high school. I loved clothing and I loved YouTube. That's kind of it. So if it wasn't going to be YouTube, I was going to do something in clothing, but my school was not for me. I didn't apply myself in my classes. I applied to 14 different colleges and got rejected from all of them. And I applied for film, which really was what I was into, cinematic stuff, which is everything I do nowadays is super cinematic, and there's lots of attention to detail. But right towards the end of high school, as I'm completing my final exams, there's a lot of discourse in the house. Like, what am I going to do? Where's college going to take me? What is the plan? And at the same time, my dad gets me a virtual reality headset, the MetaQuest 2. And I made one video on a game called Gorilla Tag. And in the game, I was better than other players. Like I was faster, I could maneuver better. And so I made a tutorial video, like how to get, good in this game. And it ended up taking off, and I got like 1,000 views, 4,000 views, which at the time for me is like, I'm Drake right now. I'm blowing up, And so I just rode that momentum, and right towards the end of exams, I think my father came to a realization, my father and my mother, like, okay, maybe there's an opportunity here because this might actually become something. So we took the chance. I moved to Canada for 2 years, didn't end up going to college, but I grinded my ass off in my basement all day, every day. I would go to bed at 10 a.m., editing through the night, making video after video, just nonstop. So it's been like that for the last 4 years, just riding that initial momentum. And now I'm here, and I'm extremely blessed with a super dedicated fan base, a career that I'm continuing to grow. We have a team now. This is our office here in Vietnam. And it's just been a really explosive career so far, and I'm extremely grateful, and I'm just going to keep on grinding.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's so great for people to hear this, that, yeah, maybe you're planning to go to college and that doesn't work out. Lots of kids I know, I'm a university professor as well, don't really know what they want to do. Maybe their parents have told them to go to university, but it's not really their thing. So you did some of your schooling in Canada, you said, but you're in Vietnam now.
I grew up in Vietnam since I was like 3, just because of my parents' work. My father owns a music company, and this was just home base. And I had gone to Canada to eventually get into one of the colleges, but that didn't really end up happening, unfortunately. But it's okay. I wear it as a badge of honor that I didn't get into any of them, because I still figured out a way to make life meaningful. And, but yeah, so I never actually went to university, and I have a high school degree. That's pretty much it. And I don't plan on going to university anytime soon, just to make it clear.
100%. And I think that's brilliant.
No offense to you, Miss Libby.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think for so many kids, my point is like, don't go to university just if your parents think you should go to university, right? There are so many options and pathways. And one of the reasons why I know your story is going to resonate with so many people is like just that believing in yourself. And it's great to hear that your parents did believe in you. And you obviously believed in yourself a lot. As you said, you just put the work in, you kept going. I'm sure there were times when it was hard, when things weren't going the way that you thought they might. So tell us a bit about, what's the real truth like about YouTube, getting to success, and then what happens when you are successful and all the pressure?
Sure. Well, I mean, YouTube is the only job where you will probably never be satisfied. Well, I'm sure every job is like that, especially creative work, because you're the only person holding yourself accountable, and you're the director of everything. So YouTube, there's a lot of pressure. And also, I will always feel like the small fish, which isn't necessarily a good feeling. To be honest, I never really feel like I'm doing that good. Not in a way to say like, oh man, I'm just, not in a boasting way, but in a way that's like, it's difficult to feel satisfied, because YouTube is volatile. If you don't upload for a month, all your stats go away. You have to signal to this giant being known as the algorithm that your videos are worth having on their platform. Why are you bringing people to my site? Why are they spending longer on my site? Prove yourself to me. It's like a big hungry monster you constantly have to feed. Not only that, my entire audience and my content is in a niche that is super small to begin with. I mean, I make virtual reality gaming videos. Virtual reality, while I believe in the technology long term, humanity hasn't adopted it yet like we have the cell phone. It's going to come first in the form of glasses, like everyday wearables, and then to the immersive, totally like you escape into another world thing. So, YouTube is a constant grind. I literally haven't stopped for 4 years. The longest break I ever took was maybe a month. And then it takes another month to get back to where I was of consistent grinding. So it can be tough. There's a lot of work involved, especially when you do it for so long. It's been 4 years I've been doing it professionally now. I've exhausted every possible idea I could in every game. It's just about staying what's with the trends, what's happening now, what forms of content are going out. YouTube has transitioned into YouTube Shorts, and short form is taking over the platform. And it's so much easier to grow as a creator. At the same time, longevity and value comes from long form videos. But how do you keep someone watching for 8 minutes or longer? It's tough. So you just have to play with all these things and also branch out. That's really the focus of 2026 for myself and my company is, okay, VR is small. I want to stay in VR because right now I am the leader of VR, at least in the eyes of the youth. This is a great position to be in, especially for the long term. But right now, everyone is playing Roblox. Everyone is on other devices. Everyone's playing mobile games. How can I pivot so that I stay relevant at all times, but also secure my future within this space and technology? So we're developing VR games now. We have a few in the works just because I love VR. I love gaming. So even if the population is 15 people, let me make a great game for 15 people. And yeah, just venturing out and trying new things. But that's where the other parts of my business comes in. So I make music, and there's a fashion aspect, and there's other channels where I play other games and react to TikToks and, play Roblox and stuff like that. And making video games. That's really where we're at now. And video games of all kinds, many of which I have not publicly spoken about yet, but the main one we have now is Schmackle, which is my VR game, which is a conversation on its own, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to get into that in a minute for sure. And the multi-platform content you're doing, because I think you're really at the forefront of that. And what we saw this year at VidCon was really incredible. But just kind of, I guess, a little bit more on the YouTube side, as you said, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure. I guess people can get burnt out. So what kind of things do you kind of do for yourself and lifestyle wise to maintain a balance and to reduce that kind of pressure? Because I guess it can get pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, sure. I mean, YouTube burnout is real. They say the lifespan of a YouTuber is 7 years. I'm in 4 now, so yeah. I'm definitely gonna go past 7. I don't plan to, but I felt burnout massively in the past. And not only that, but it's a very isolating job because, well, there's a few aspects to it. One, in Vietnam, all of my friends who were here in high school, they left to international universities. So I have no friends in the area. When I was in Canada, I had never lived there before, and I'm in a very small town, so I had no friends there either. On top of all that, I'm too busy to go hang out. I mean, I'm in my basement literally editing all day. Now I don't edit my own videos anymore just because it's totally unsustainable. And it got unhealthy. You know, you need to have a life and you need to decompress. But I felt super burnt out before. And the other aspect is that I don't want to speak in a boastful way, but when you experience high levels of success as a younger person, it's extremely difficult to relate to those around me. And people reflect inwards when they're around you. They can't help but see their own inadequacies, for lack of a better word. Sure. So it creates a barrier. And I felt that with so many people. I've lost so many friends simply because I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed to be doing it, you know. So there's all those aspects. But what I do nowadays is I work out. Music is a great release for me, and I get to share it with the world, which is awesome. And you know, I see my girlfriend when I can. I travel when I can. Really, when I'm here, it's the most productive. I love to travel. I love to go around the world, and usually it's for business reasons too. But I have a lot of friends. They're just spread out everywhere. So I see people in pockets. When I'm in Vietnam, I do like 2-3 month stretches of full grind, no life, sleep, eat, work out, and make YouTube videos. And then when I travel, I get to do stuff like that. But it took a lot of getting used to. I mean, I know that if I had friends here that I could see every day that were super cool, like I would be with them. So in a way, it's kind of great that I'm isolated because the focus is amazing. No one is here that I know, and I get to just hide away and do what I do. And I mean, it's like if I do people's week per day, think about 6 months from now where I will be career-wise than the competition. So I work a 9 to 5. We start at 9 a.m. here. Gym is at 6. And we just keep working throughout the week. And sometimes I take weekends off for sure. I have to just to sleep in.
Just sleep in. Yeah. Well, I mean, you should be extremely proud of your success and obviously have an incredible work ethic. It's amazing. And not many people at your age, I think you're 22, could say that they have, you know, 2 billion views for their content. So, you know, huge kudos to you. So tell us,
Thank you so much.
You know, how do you turn content into a real business and this long-term intellectual property?
Yeah. So, you know, IP is the secret weapon. It's the Disney effect where you have an umbrella of characters, worlds, and signals that you can use to build brands off of that become super recognizable. It started with me generating my own revenue just based off my hard work, like editing. And at the time when VR was blowing up and Gorilla Tag was blowing up, it was my entry into the business world. And then it got to a point where I realized, okay, this isn't really... It will always be my creative passion. It will always be my expression, but it's become a business now. And now the switch is flipped where you kind of have to do things even when you don't feel like it. All of YouTube was based on how I felt that day. Did I get enough sleep? I don't feel like making a video. Now it's like, well, 1, people depend on me. 2, my aspirations have grown tenfold. So the places I want to get to require this kind of effort. And, what was the question again?
Yeah, just no. Like how, like you've talked a lot about IP as well and how important that is. But is that what you use to turn the content into a longer term venture? Right.
So I mean, we have a multi-company structure, and we have tons of IP. So there's jmancurly, which is me, which is recognizable with few, like you can call them signals. Like there's the yellow tape. You can't see it now, but I have this wall of yellow tape here.
Yeah. Cool.
It's the yellow tape, it's the blue hair, and it's the VR gaming. That's what jmancurly is, and everyone recognizes it. Hilarious gaming videos. We have Gonzalez, which is the mascot. He's like my baby doll. He's the only baby doll that's popular with boys.
Yeah,
and
cool.
he wears the yellow tape, and he has one left glove that's red. So immediately blue belongs to jmancurly and yellow. Gonzalez has red. We have Simon and Num Num, the two animals I had in the past, which is a bird and a cat. It's like Tom and Jerry, you know, two opposite creatures that probably kill each other, or at least a cat would kill the bird. And then we have Schmackle, which is purple, which is totally digital world, its own lore, exists as its own universe. Then we have Jung Tape, which is green, the music. So as soon as you lock down colors and things in the most basic shapes, like when you see a yellow rectangle, if you're a fan of jmancurly, you know what it means already. So once you lock down these super unique traits, like why does he have one glove? Why is there a phone taped to my chest? It sparks a question. So we're building this kind of umbrella of IP, as well as whatever future games we put out. Everything's going to tie together in the background, lore-wise, product-wise. So I think that takes it long term, but also spreading out into different things. Like I started making music 2 years ago. By no means professionally. I did it by myself. I mean, we still make all our music by myself or by ourselves, like Thomas and I, who's my operations manager, and we work very closely together. But, you know, venturing out to different things that connect with people. And also like a big thing for me now is like, how do I insert myself in a meaningful way to Roblox? Like my audience, everyone is playing Roblox. I have to be where they are, you know. Music artists, they collaborate with young up and coming artists to stay relevant, to stay in the faces of the people. You have to pivot. So this is an interesting point in my career, because VR is not where it was 2-3 years ago. At the same time, my goals are so huge, and the world of content and video gaming is changing rapidly. So all opportunity, but one that needs to be taken on, you know, thoughtfully.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Curly Gang, because one of the key things for anyone doing the kind of thing you're doing is to build this incredible community. And it's a really hard thing to do. And you have been so successful at that. I've seen footage from VidCon this year where I think you are probably, looks like the most popular artist there. You have like a wall of security and, you know, just thousands and thousands of fans. So what did you do to build the Curly Gang, and what do you think makes them more than just fans? Like they're so engaged with you.
I mean, one thing that's factual is the Curly Gang is very young. I think having a young audience and kids that watch your videos immediately increases your loyalty level by 50%. Kids are extremely loyal and genuine. They're extremely kind. They haven't been through the parts of life that create a barrier. And they're so close with their parents, and everything they want from a YouTuber or they experience, they share with their parents. They say, "Mom, can we get this? Can we get this? Please, 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 please." So now the whole family's involved. And with parental approval, the kids are even more locked in, like because your parents approve. It's not like you're hiding something from them. You're watching a YouTuber that's raunchy or, you know, can be whatever. So I started a Discord server with my first Gorilla Tag video. That was really the main place where we could all come together and talk. But the only thing I could dream about before actually becoming a YouTuber was like, wouldn't it be so cool if one day I could post a video and all day I could reply to comments, people that like my stuff. That was the enticing part for me, was the community. So at our company, our number one value is community. Every decision we make, is this right for the community or wrong? If it's wrong, we just don't do it. Money doesn't come in the way, you know, moving up in a way that's not good for the community doesn't happen. Like that's the first check. If it doesn't work for the community and they're going to feel it, or it's going to do something bad for them, we don't do that. And that's kept us on track the whole time. That's our North Star. And so I started the Discord server, advertising it in every single video, talking to them daily, which I still do, replying to comments, talking on the Discord server. They feel like I'm always there. And the nature of my videos is physical. You see my whole body. I'm out there for people to see. I sweat. You know, you see my butt crack when I'm faced the other way. Like I'm not hiding anything. And they relate to me because I am a kid. I will always be a kid inside. So I'm going to scream and be stupid, even if I'm whatever, 60 years old. Like that's just who I am. So they relate to that too. And the constant affirmation of thank you guys. I am nothing without you. You gave me everything, all of which is true. YouTubers don't illustrate that. I mean, how many artists you see become so jaded, especially when they're young? It's like they become almost disrespectful and they don't acknowledge anything. It's like, listen, bro, if you didn't have fans, you'd be at McDonald's right now. Myself too.
Right?
I don't know where I'd be without YouTube. So every day I'm like, thank you, Lord, for the Curly Gang, because without them, I wouldn't be here. Thank you to the Curly Gang for watching my videos, for purchasing anything, for sharing anything, for commenting once. Like, it's a collective effort. So this constant affirmation saying thank you, specifically for what? Like, for putting me here, for watching my videos. I wouldn't be here without you, and I owe everything to you. Those words hit hard. I said, thanks guys for watching. Peace out. Yeah. It's like you have to really make it count. And in every one of my videos, like the common theme is wholesomeness. Yes. I really try to end my videos with something meaningful, sad, happy, or whatever, just bringing people together. That's like the hidden secret in a YouTube video is if you can make someone feel choked up, that has 100 times more impact than a laugh or like a scare. Yeah. So the Curly Gang has been amazing, just constantly talking to them, making them feel seen, and making videos with them. Almost all my videos are with them. I ping the Discord like, yo guys, hop on, I'm recording a video. So they're in the videos and then they share more because they're like, oh my gosh, I made it. Yeah. And I think I was just positioned really well. Like, I'm very lucky to have found Gorilla Tag so early because this niche didn't exist before. I was lucky to kind of be somewhat genre defining in this area. Like, by no means am I the biggest YouTuber. By no means am I the best YouTuber, but I have my lane and I do this lane really well. And then it inspired thousands of kids to edit the same way, use the same music, do the same thing. So it created its own genre. Yeah. And, you know, at VidCon, creators show up with 20, 30 million subscribers and they don't pull the same audience as we do. It's just because I've been building this for 4 years. Yeah. So it's really a time thing too. And I think VidCon tickets went on sale now, which means I got to get to promoting. So, you know, they show up again.
I want to talk about VidCon, but you're right. I think, you know, Gorilla Tag itself is a game that is, I think, very wholesome, right? In the space of a lot of different games. And so, as you said, you built around the community. But tell us about then what inspired you to start Schmackle and build a whole game studio, because that's not an easy thing when you're competing against companies that spend hundreds of millions of dollars on games. And then I'd love to talk about that experience design behind VidCon. But yeah, tell us about Schmackle.
Sure. I mean, you know, Shmackle is a passion project of mine. By no means are we anywhere close to being finished. It is by far the most difficult project I've ever taken on. A video game is like a movie you can watch 100 times from every different angle. It's the ultimate art project with graphics, 3D, music, storytelling, visuals. Like, it's the whole package. The funny thing about VR is almost every game started with one guy, one developer. Problem is, I have zero coding experience, but I'm a visionary. I have ideas for what I want to see, the world I want to build, but the technical side is not where my skill set lies. But I don't think it did with Steve Jobs either, or even Elon Musk. Like, these people are not building the products, but they have the ideas for them. So, with Schmackle, I imagined this amazing world, but the real reason why I made it is because as I was coming up as a small YouTuber and I was making videos about these different VR games and they're blowing up, I was never given the light of the day by the people behind the games. It was so difficult to not only come into contact, but receive any form of acknowledgement. And I didn't make the YouTube videos for acknowledgement, but it would be nice. Sure. Like, where would any massive game be without the YouTubers behind it constantly pushing and marketing? And I never thought a bit about marketing. That's a very corporate term. I'm having fun. But it's like there was no communication between the community and the game developers. And I'm like, community is my whole thing. So Schmackle will always care about its creators. That is our motto. Schmackle will always take care of its creators. We give them the tools they need, the communication they need, and like whatever they need. Like, we're nothing without you. So take whatever you want, basically. I mean, in a smart way. Yeah. So that was really the birth of Schmackle. I'm walking in Canada at like 2 a.m. and I'm calling Thomas. I'm like, bro, I want to make a VR game. So we start dishing out ideas of this amazing world, this futuristic world where you play as this robot, you inhabit a robot body and you take down a company from the inside that's become evil, full of these secret government innuendos and like a very layered story, one that we have pages written for and hilarious characters and just something super creative. when it came to the technical side, it's been an amazing learning experience. There's so much to learn, but I'm not satisfied yet. And I want to make the best VR game of all time. I want to make the #1 VR game of all time. So I don't care if it takes me 5 years or 10 years or 15. I'm not going to stop until I make that happen. But it's been amazing. And what's the cool thing is that even if my game is not something I'm satisfied with or something I want to continue working on, the world exists, which leads back to the IP thing. Schmackle is a thing now. It's not really about the game because there's characters and there's story and there's worlds. So when we were at VidCon, we put up this giant inflatable proto bro, and that's the name of our character, and became the meeting place. People would just hover around it and chat and hang out. So it's much bigger than the game now, although we should make the game great.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us then about VidCon. You obviously, you put the proto bro there. What was the thought behind the experience design? What kind of multi-platform aspects did you have in your VidCon appearances, and how did you kind of make all of that happen? Because it just looked incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to plan stuff in the US when you live on the other side of the earth, especially setting up a full inflatable. But we have an amazing team here who set it up, and that inflatable was definitely an investment, but we can use it forever, which is great. VidCon's an incredible thing. Like, there's nothing like it for YouTubers, really. And the team at VidCon is so generous. They make everything happen. They make us feel like rock stars. So, last VidCon, really, they designed the whole experience. I show up for, we can say how many meet and greets do we want and what stages we want to do. And I always fight for the big stages. I want to do the big stages where I can perform my music or just talk to the people. But for 2 years in a row, we've been the openers, me and my two friends, Elliot and VMT. So we go up, we open the event, and it's the biggest crowd on the first day. It's the biggest one. We go up there, full energy. What's up? I mean, there's an aspect to being a YouTuber that is like, you're inside all day and you're alone all day. And a lot of YouTubers, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but they do not develop the skills required to harness a live audience or to present themselves in the public eye in real life. It's very different when you're at home. So when we go up there, it's like full concert energy, screaming, what's up? We make fun of ourselves. We joke about ourselves. I mean, I had the worst voice crack I've ever had on stage. It was the most embarrassing thing ever. But you play it off right away. It's like, oh gosh, no one record that. No one take a photo. No videos. Yeah. So just coming out with that energy, and this coming year is going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. We've got some awesome stuff planned. But putting up that inflatable for me was important because, one, I want to solidify myself as a force in the YouTube game, even if I'm not the biggest YouTuber, which I'm definitely not compared to some of those guys, but I want to solidify myself. Like, look, we got something cool. And also the Curly gang is so strong. This is a 4-year project, these people, and I'm going to continue to grow them. So, yeah, I think it's just the combination of those things, and VidCon's amazing scheduling team and everything that they do. It's just allowed me to totally express myself and actually meet my fans, because no one knows me here. I don't get recognized ever. I'm a nobody here, which is great. Which is great. But then when I go to the US, it's like, whoa. Crazy. And then every time I come back after a trip to the US, there's new insight. I learned something new. I mean, the first VidCon, or I would say VidCon 2, I've been to like 4 so far. The second one, I'm like, okay, my audience is way younger than I thought they were. They're all showing up with their parents. Yeah. Immediately, I made a switch in my head. It's like, okay, I'm not cussing anymore. I'm not like, everything has to be PG. There's a new responsibility, and I want to keep my fans, and I want to be a good influence. Like, I want to put good out into the world. I want to be the guy that says, like, it's okay, be funny, embrace what you have, be good to people, take care of the ones you love, harness community and bring people together, be kind, and all my audience are boys. They're all young boys. And so there's a very small percentage of girls. So really, I'm talking to younger versions of myself. And the things I want to share are like, it's okay to be masculine or to want to be successful. It's okay to want great things for yourself. I feel like in certain aspects of society, there's a sense of shame that comes with wanting to make a lot of money or wanting to be super successful because you're doing it at the expense of someone else. Some mystery person. But it's a narrative that I think has been shared so much, especially in my high school experience. There was like a lot of things that as I got older, I realized, well, this is not true at all. Like I kind of found out how the world actually works. So I hope to be that kind of spark in these younger kids' lives and be a part of their like childhood upbringing. Cause that was all the YouTubers for me. Is like, they were part of my childhood. So anyways, I just hope I'm doing the right thing for them, you know?
I think you're doing a great job, and you can see that certainly, as you said, in the Curly gang, but then the support of the parents as well, because I think that's pretty rare in this kind of space. So for those kids, and not just for them, I think certainly older people as well, you know, were you always someone who was really confident? And if you weren't, what kind of things would you suggest for people to build that confidence, to think, oh, I'd love to go on stage one day, or even just I'd love to record myself online, but it feels terrifying? How do you build confidence?
That's a great question. I mean, to be honest with you, I used to be insecure of my shadow in high school. I would be walking from the bus to class and the sun would be casting behind me. And I look at my shadow, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm skinny and my hair is weird and super insecure. And that changes with time. And, you know, you get a girlfriend here and a girlfriend there, and it builds up over time. Like you work on your game and stuff. And I mean, the amazing thing was that I was able to put myself on camera, especially early on. All the way up until 13, I had a ponytail that went down to here. Oh, wow. And when my hair was wet, it went all the way down. Like I had long hair. I never cut it short. Yeah. So I looked different from everyone. Everyone thought I was a girl. Like that growing up was a little weird too. And especially, you know, well, anyways, it's just like, think of all the jokes that people make. And so not only that, but in high school or in middle school, when I was around 12 or 13, I got super sick with Crohn's disease, which I still have, but I missed so much school. So I'm not spending any time with friends. I'm in the hospital all the time, and they're making jokes and like whatever. Kids can be pretty cruel, you know, kids to each other. They can be pretty mean, but I'm not saying I was bullied or anything like that, but it's the nuanced stuff. Sure. So the confidence wasn't always there. My parents played a huge role to that. They're both professional musicians who performed on stage their whole lives. They're the embodiment of confidence. My dad, you know, putting on an amazing show. My mom, lead singer. My dad was the drummer. And so that's what they did all their lives. So I had that brewing in my mind, but it was so much easier to do something on camera. It was so easy to do something on camera because there's no one there. And I'm talking to invisible people. And especially early on, there wasn't actually anyone watching. So there were no consequences. So maybe that time allowed me to develop those skills. Then when I was ready for at least to post it, and even that was, you know, a little strange. Like I was the guy who made videos in high school before anything happened. I had a little podcast called Goat Milk. And, you know, my friends would come do the podcast with me, and you know, no one took it seriously, and they shouldn't have. It wasn't anything serious. And then it started catching on. But at the same time, I'm in my basement the whole time. And really, now that I think about it, I think it was VR. Because when I go into a Gorilla Tag lobby, at least in the early days, I'd be like, everybody, if you want to be in a video, come meet me over here. Yo, you purple kid, come here. You have to yell at people. Yeah. So at least I got to start in the digital world, and then I can start yelling at people in real life afterwards. But yeah, I think just repetition. It's repetition. That's how you build confidence. You have to consistently make yourself uncomfortable, which is something I've been doing really good at. I mean, building a business is by no means easy, and you have to make not only difficult calls, but you have to have conversations with people that are extremely upfront and super uncomfortable. I mean, teams and startups change all the time, and you are facing human nature. People change and act differently when there's money involved, when there are team dynamics involved. You're the boss. You're not their friend, and they see you in a different light. And so kind of swallowing that, like, okay, I guess I'm not really a kid anymore. That's tough too. And while I will always feel like it inside, my responsibilities have changed drastically. So repetition, getting a girlfriend really helps. You know, my girlfriend now, I love her so much, and makes me feel like $1,000,000. She boosts my confidence like crazy, and she says amazing things to me. And, you know, she makes me feel like the coolest guy when we walk into a place, because she's clinging onto my arm and she says wonderful things to me as I reciprocate to her as well. So all of these things add up, and you can be confident when you've put the hours in. Like, I can talk smack because I've been doing this, and I've been working for a long time. So I put in the hours, I put in the work, and, you know, I've got the stuff to prove it. So it's like come talk to me once you put in 4 years of YouTube. Come talk to me once you did this stuff. Not in a confrontational way, but it's just, it helps to have that behind me.
Yeah, you got to put in the work, as you said, and everyone
Yes.
wakes up and says, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be on stage at VidCon. But, there's a lot of work and a lot of risk. Like, you're constantly taking risks, starting these new businesses, following these ideas, which, as you said, it's not easy. It's really, really scary. So what's the vision now across all these platforms? Like, what's next for jmancurly, for Schmackle? Like, what are the things you're dreaming up now?
For sure. I mean, internally, I'm known as like the triple threat because it's videos, music, and video games. So these are the three things we work on, all under the umbrella of community. So just constantly improving these few things. On the music side, I'm launching an album next year. I mean, I've got a few. I have only 15 songs out right now, but I'm sitting on so many just because we're so busy and I want to make sure they're good. Putting out tons of more music. I want to get into modeling and fashion just because I'm young and I think the time is now. On the video game side, Shmackle, we are going through a massive overhaul called Schmackle 2.0 to make the game perfect, like absolutely up to par and better than the other games out on the store now. In terms of the videos, constant experimentation. I've got lots of new ideas I want to try. We're in a very interesting spot. We just launched a collaboration with Gorilla Tag where you can go get my outfit in the game. So that's been super cool. It's the first time I've sold anything in 4 years. So that's been really awesome. And the team over at Gorilla Tag have been absolutely wonderful and truly amazing and communicative. And so just continuing to grind on the things I already do, making them way better. Like, I'm a big believer of taking on projects and working on them for a long time. Like, I'm not into quick projects that blow up and die. Like, I want to work on small, like single digit things, like 3 or 4 things for a long period of time to make them excellent. So at one point, something's got to blow up. It's been steady growth up until this point, but I'm hoping at one point a song is going to blow up and we enter that realm, or a video or a new like trend is going to explode my channel. And then I'm at a point where whatever I upload, people are watching. There are YouTubers that have that going for them. Or on the video game side, it's just we make a video game, whether it's mobile, Xbox, or virtual reality, that just takes the world by storm and people are having fun and making memories in it. So consistent grind, let the chips fall where they may. The universe will take care of me as long as I'm good to the people I love and I work with my heart. And at one point, something's going to blow up. So it's just, every day I come in and we move the needle 1%. We move it a little bit. Over the course of many years, it'll amount to something really big. Yeah.
And I think organizations, Julian, are kind of missing the 8 ball a little bit in a lot of this stuff. They're kind of behind what's happening? What are the trends? Like, you're right at the edge of what do people want in this multi-platform stuff? What does community really want? Do you have any advice for organizations who are really grappling with AI and digitization and how do we get people engaged? A lot of their customers hate them. Their staff don't really like them. Yeah. What advice would you have?
I mean, humans are resistant to change by nature. I think that anytime you introduce something new, or especially anything with a price tag, people immediately resist. And AI is an interesting one because probably the most hate I've ever gotten online was because I said I liked AI or used AI, which to me is quite backwards. Like, we have this technology that's emerging in front of us, the most powerful technology we've ever had, that's basically accelerated human development tenfold. Like, the speed at which you can learn now or receive answers or build things with. I couldn't imagine my life without AI, like just the problems we solve on a day-to-day basis, even on the organizational side. And what really, the flack came from the AI art side. And, it's the main argument is like, okay, AI art is trained on digital artist work or copyrighted work that's out there, and we're taking jobs from artists. But throughout all of human history, there are transitions where we go from one medium to a much faster, improved medium, horse to car, there's a transitional point. So the choice is yours. Are you going to be the one that's outputting negativity? Because even if you're fighting for something like AI, which you believe is true, it comes out through the form of negativity. You're bad. What you're doing is bad. It's hurting the world. This energy does not bring you further in life, regardless of what the subject is. The way it's being expressed is in a negative light. Even if deep inside you feel like you're fighting for the right thing, it doesn't come out as goodness or collaboration. It's a barrier. So, the choice is yours. Are you going to be on the side that is holding back, resisting change, which is the one thing that will advance you as a human, is change and rapid change? Or are you going to be the side that says, okay, I see the risks. How can I utilize this to better myself and the people around me? So that's what we're doing. And to be honest, every artist is trained on other artists. That's how you learn to be an artist. So, companies, it's very difficult because they are a corporation and there's no face behind it. The interesting thing is that in video games, I can't name many games out there that have a creator behind it or a face, not only to represent the company and to represent what's going on, but you can connect. I'm a normal guy and I go through life issues and I share all of them online. So when I put out a product or a new project, it's like, okay, I know what's coming from. He's just a guy like me. Like it's more inspiring than it is like, what is this coming at me? Like people now more than ever are super skeptical about what's being put in their faces. They're questioning everything. It's very difficult to build trust. So, and I think what organizations fall into is when you're in the background and you're looking at spreadsheets and money and numbers, it's super easy to be like, okay, we got to go do this thing. It's trending right now. We got to hit this hot topic here. We have to be with the times. This whole time you're losing the fact that these are people that are buying your product, or they're people that are ingesting whatever you're putting out. So, communication is everything. And how can you, even if you don't have a single face, like I think Discord is a great example. Their entire app language, how they present themselves, is for gamers. Their language is casual and funny. They try to make you laugh. So it feels like there's real people behind it. But when you go straight for OpenAI, OpenAI made ChatGPT, whatever, but it's very corporate. Like it's like a robot talking to you. I'm not saying that chatbot itself, but you go to their website, it says the future of humanity. It's almost a little dystopian, like you're talking to real people, and young people control everything. Young people are the market always, unless you're advertising to specifically not young people, but anyone who's adopting new technology, new products, or setting trends, it's all younger people. So you got to be tapped in. You have to understand what they like. You have to spend time in what they like. Even if you're older running a giant company, you have to spend time in their world. So it's a combination of things, but it's tough. I'm definitely feeling it too. There's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And so, Julian, how do you cope with the kind of constant pressure of this kind of lifestyle, like nonstop public pressure? How do you stay mentally strong?
I mean, I have an excellent support system. My parents are the most amazing parents in the world. They've supported me through everything and they're always there for me. I've never felt judgment from them. I have amazing friends, especially in the YouTuber world, that I've made my closest friend relationships with these people through Gorilla Tag. I literally met them in Gorilla Tag and they become my closest friends. I have my family in Canada who's always been there for me and who has supported me no matter what. And I have myself in many ways. Like I had to build that bone. Like I've been through periods in my life over the last 4 years, which isn't a long time, but for me, I feel like my life started 4 years ago.
Sure.
And high school was one thing, but I kind of wiped all that from my brain subconsciously. Like I didn't even think of it, but I can't remember many details from high school. And maybe a part of me doesn't want to remember inside. I may not be aware of it as of now, but the last 4 years, I've been through the most amazing highs and happiness and the most detrimental turmoil, the lowest spots and the highest spots. And it's like, look, I could either be controlled by my thoughts or my subconscious speaker, or I could build the strength to stay level at all times. I think right now I've gotten to the point where I can control my emotions now better than I ever have before. And it took literally a year, like a year ago. Okay, my business is being built. I'm entering these new stages of my life, these new roles. I'm having the most difficult conversations I've had. I don't have friends here. I fell madly in love with someone. And I'm trying to make my company work in a space that's extremely small and volatile. So all these things are a recipe for extreme anxiety. And it took a year of practice, not only to turn off the negative thought loops, this language, but to focus my attention in my chest. Like, okay, what I'm feeling right now is just my heartbeat. The situation isn't bad. It feels like it, but everything's okay. Breathe. And it took practice every single day, like just talking to myself, focusing my attention on my chest, like we're here, we're good. So, now I think I'm at a great point, and I still go through episodes of feeling unsure, uneasy, anxious all the time. But it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. So working on myself, the gym helps a lot. Eating well helps a lot. Sleep is the secret weapon. And putting out stuff that I'm proud of, like if I wasn't doing YouTube, like if I don't work, I feel a need in my body where I'm like, okay, I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to post. It doesn't feel right in my gut if my videos are not performing or if I'm not posting. It's just this muscle that I've built that I think has brought me here. So I'm never satisfied, but at least I'm always working.
So much inspiration for people in your journey and your openness and vulnerability. So I really want to thank you for that. Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that, I should have asked you?
Let me think. I feel like I covered everything. I mean, we're just working here. This is my studio. I've got my lights. So the camera's always looking this way. I'm at my computer set up here. We've got use code jman for those in Gorilla Tag if you buy shiny rocks. We've got all of our characters here. We've got Gonzalez sitting on the tape right there. There he is, cool. my little baby. He's a 300-year-old shapeshifter. That's really the story behind it.
Where did he come from? Did you buy him, or what's the story behind Gonzalez?
I used to do like a fan mail series where people could send me stuff. And in Canada, someone sent me a baby, and I freaked out when I opened the package. Like, what the hell? Who sent me a child? And so as I went through more packages, I'm like, okay, we should name this guy. So I look at a random box and their last name was Gonzalez. I'm like, all right, you're Gonzalez now. And he turned out to be like a mascot. And I go out to VidCon and I bring him out on stage and they go crazy and they show up with their own Gonzalez's. So, it's just so much exciting stuff. And I feel I'm very lucky because we have branding. We have branding that's so difficult to do. And so many YouTubers don't have that, So we have all these brands that can exist without J-Man, and you know what they are. Like you can imagine the Nike hotel. You can imagine the McDonald's hotel. I can imagine the J-Man hotel. It's yellow tape everywhere, So I'm just going to continue to develop these brands. Really, the main thing for me is like, okay, how do I make my videos perform better than they ever have before and become a solid YouTuber where I'm not locked into a niche? That's really my priority right now. And putting out music. I really want to go so heavy in music because I want to share what I'm making. I want to be like, I aspire to be famous. It's not why I do things. It's not the driver behind it, but it's something that I look forward to and that I enjoy. So to anyone listening, it's okay to want these things. Like you don't have to feel bad about wanting to be famous or rich. If those are your sole reasons, you're going to have a very difficult time because there's no value for what you're producing. But to want to be successful in your life, take care of the people around you, and to do big things and people go crazy for you is so exciting. It's not why I do it, but it's the perks of it. So I look forward to these things. I want to be able to host concerts. I want to do big concerts. And when I walk through the street, people are freaking out that it's J-Man. So I don't know. I might have to change my artist name to something a little edgier or like, I don't know.
J-Man's pretty cool. I think
J-Man's cool. All right. I'll take your word for it then.
Yeah. Oh, Julian, look, thank you so much. It's so awesome to have you on the podcast. I know so much of what you said is going to resonate across so many different aspects of our audience. So yeah, truly, it's been awesome. Yes.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to talk to you.
Such an eye-opening conversation for me, Libby. I love it when you have these, you conduct these interviews with people. I come off the back of it going, that got me thinking about so many things that I otherwise haven't before. And I mentioned a little bit in the introduction about my my naivety to the scale of all of this. But this fella is 22 years of age and he's built this empire entirely based on his own personal vision for something. It's literally, it's grown beautifully organically for him. And I couldn't help but feel warm-hearted about the whole operation and what it is that he's achieved. By the same token, I suppose there's a tension within me, and this could be a generational thing. There's a tension within me um, that he has to be essentially. I know he spoke about looking after himself and the like, and taking breaks when he can, but the constancy of it, just being switched on all the time to this extraordinary audience that in many circumstances are sitting there waiting for the new video button to pop up on their device, and being accessible and available to this whole world. It gives me a little bit of tightness in the chest, but
you know what, Matt?
I haven't been raised in this environment. I'm not as familiar or tuned into it as our friend jmancurly, and and I admire that. I admire his ability to navigate that. I wouldn't even know where to begin, though.
But you know what? I think this is absolutely about the different lenses that we have. Because, okay, take away the numbers, and I think you could say this to anyone. Okay, you've got 5 million people who, for the most part, absolutely love him. If we've seen the footage at the beginning of the episode from VidCon, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Just your manager. Okay, you could say to anyone, okay, it doesn't need to be 5 million people. My manager or my toxic work colleague is sending me reports at 10 o'clock at night, asking me to get on Zoom calls, expecting responses to emails, doing some performative BS and playing me off against my colleague. I will guarantee you, and I do this all the time, pretty much every day, being in organizations, people will tell you that is horrifically stressful. So yes, there's a lot of pressure to create a video, but that your community loves, but I would suggest it's as stressful as we see in the stats that we talk about constantly in terms of burnout, that your manager is, and who doesn't go home scrolling on their phone on the couch going, is there that email? How did the boss respond to that? Did I say the right thing in that meeting? And it can be an audience of 2 people. So I actually don't think that what we're doing, it's of course extremely different, but I wouldn't say that it's less stressful, that the pressures on your average employee, that of course they're completely different pressures, but it doesn't mean to say that they're not, that's so stressful. so crazy over here. Every person I've spoken to is like, I'm exhausted, or they were exhausted by the beginning of December. He's like, I can't even get through to when we're actually going to shut the office. So I think that we know that when you have no autonomy or very little autonomy, that increases the stress. So, Julian's built these brands, companies, he's built a game, developed an entire game, built a whole thing around that. But yes, a lot of pressure, but also a lot of complete autonomy and inspiration to just be creative and come up with ideas. Whereas other people might go to work and like the amount of creativity, opportunity or autonomy they've got is limited or zero, which I think is one of the major things, aside from the stress and everything else, that is behind that stat that we're seeing, that over 60, nearly 70% of Gen Z want to be freelance. And that doesn't mean they all want to do what Julian's doing, but they want to have more flexibility, as we heard, the opportunity to be autonomous and to have creativity. And I think for the human spirit, we know that is so important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the business mindedness for such a young man, really impressive fella. And I'm sure there is something in that. I think last episode I dwelled on how that 66% of people are feeling lost at work. Essentially, they feel burnt out and almost broken by their working lives. That figure almost exactly matches the number for Gen Zers wanting to freelance. So they want none of that BS anymore. There's got to be something in that, that correlation too. I think really, really interesting. Really interesting.
So professional. And again, I get very annoyed about the tropes we hear against Gen Z and Gen Alpha. But again, here's another example. So people say, oh yes, but you're talking about university students and your students, and of course that's going to be the case. Okay, we heard Julian talk about his own kind of journey with school and sort of not really liking that and being really clear what he wanted to do. But
what was it, 14 unsuccessful college applications? Yeah.
Incredibly, fantastic business mind, so professional, just an absolute pleasure to deal with him and his team in setting this up. And I'm just really excited to see where he goes next, and with that creativity and with the self-care. I think again, so we heard him talk about how important that is, the foundation of that, sleep. Yeah, someone who's 22 years old, he goes to the gym. If you've seen him online, well, you obviously saw him on the video, Matt. It's obviously, extremely healthy and fit, and then talks about the importance of all of these things: mental health, physical health. And as we keep saying, walking around the office, the average employee, if you ask them how well they sleep, not at all. You couldn't tell you the last time they did any kind of, not everyone, of course, but that focus on the foundations, I think, is like not necessarily there. That what we have seen over the generations, like work at all costs, be at your desk, hustle, sleep on the factory floor. Who cares about that stuff, right? And so, I think we can learn a lot from this generation.
100%. And I am curious, and perhaps this feeds into a conversation that we can build upon at another time. But from a workplace structural point of view, the idea of Gen Zers wanting to go it alone as freelancers, I wonder what that glut, and it is a glut, I wonder how that will fit into the current workplace dynamic when we've spoken about, the bureaucracies around these sorts of things, whether it's the tax office or whatever else, workplace relations departments around the place, managing that at a structural level, at a microstructural level. I wonder what the future looks like in that space, what it means for a casualized pool when that casualized pool is the majority, in terms of rights and entitlements and the law around all of this kind of thing. It does get you thinking laterally about, wow, we're on the cusp of some pretty significant shifts here, shifts and changes.
Massive change in a lot of those areas. And in some of those areas, it can't come soon enough because a lot of them are just bureaucratic and oppressive, no good reason. Of course, there are other things that are beneficial, but we've heard about the blockchain, new models of finance, new models of organization. So our structures, if you talk about going in to get a home loan, do you have a full-time job? Have you had a job for 5 years? And all those sort of things just don't fit anymore in this new world of work.
That's exactly a perfect example.
So we are going to need to have significant shifts around this because, as you said, when you've got the majority of people working in this way, then those structures that were set up at the beginning of time of home loans don't fit anymore. And so that's where I think there is so much opportunity for innovation as well.
Maybe a deprioritization of those sorts of things shifts the entire economic model on which our current existence is based. So how far can you take this sort of thing? But
so far,
these are things that need consideration and discussion. Like I said, mind-opening today. Libby, mind-opening.
I think we need to send you on a holiday, Matt, actually. So
another one.
Maybe another holiday. I think you need another holiday. But look, what a pleasure to have Julian on today, and a great, I think, inspiration, even if you, of course, don't want to do any of the things he's doing, but just the way of thinking about this stuff is a really cool way to head into 2026.
Good luck for the year ahead, Libby Sander. We'll talk soon.